Hello and welcome to the video for NS3, all about decimals. Decimals are scary for some, but they don't have to be. Compared to the last video with positives and negatives, this one should be way easier, very downhill in comparison. So let's get started. Adding and subtracting. Adding and subtracting have very different rules in multiplying and dividing. So just like with the last one, there's going to be a split where maybe if you want to do one first, stop the video, practice, then come back and learn the multiply and divide later. You may want to do that. It's up to you because you know your learning style better than I do. It's your option. So first up is addition, and subtraction is going to be very similar. First you've got to set it up properly. You can't leave it like this. Alright, so 0.734, and we're going to put the left number on top and the right number on the bottom. Okay, going from left to right. And we're also going to line it up by the decimal. So I wrote the first one, right? Then the second number has a decimal. So I'm going to put a decimal right here and work around it. So in front of the decimal is a 2. To the right of the decimal is a 3 and a 9. You got to line up. The decimals need to be lined up. They need to match up. They can't be in any old kind of place. And then there's nothing beneath the 4 because you're going to have to end up adding the two numbers, right? But we can't add 4 to nothing. Or, well, you kind of can with a 0, right? So we're going to put a 0. So we can start adding now. So 4 plus 0 is 4. 3 plus 9 is 12. Carry the 1. 8, 9, 10, 11. Carry a 1. Plus 2 is 3. Move that decimal on down. And we have our answer right there. 3.124. Pretty easy, right? Alright, so let's do another one. Number 2. Oh, rewrite your problem just like we did before. 6.237. Alright, before we go on to the next number, we're going to put a decimal right there. And then the next number is a whoa, there's no decimal. What do we do? We're trapped, right? No, we're not trapped. If you remember from an earlier video, if you have no decimal, you can always add one to the far right. So let's do exactly that. Put a 7 right there. Add the decimal to the far right of the 7. That means the 7 goes to the left of the decimal. And draw our line. It's an addition problem. So then let's go ahead and fill in any zeros so that we actually have digits to start adding or subtracting to. And start solving. 7 plus 0 is 7. 3 plus 0 is 3. 2 plus 0 is 2. 6 plus 7 is 13. Bring that decimal bad boy right down there. And done! 13 plus 13.237. All done. Next problem. Okay, next problem. It's subtraction. Who cares? Do the same thing, only you subtract at the end instead of add. Let's walk through it. 3.65, because that's the first number, going from left to right. And let's switch up the colors again. Subtract. Put a decimal right here, because you always got to line up those decimals. And then for the second number, there's a 1 to the left of the decimal and an 83 to the right of the decimal. And, well, that's our number. So we can start subtracting. 5 minus 3 is 2. 6 minus 8, can't do that. Borrow from the 3 for a 2. That becomes 16. So that means 16 minus 8 is 8. And 2 minus 1 is 1. And, of course, let's bring that decimal bad boy right down here where it belongs. For a grand total of 1.82 is your answer. Whoa! Okay, next problem. Okay, next problem. We've done one that's very similar and with adding, so I'm going to go kind of fast. We start with a 12. Alright, that's our first number. And there's no decimal. Oh, wait, that's right. We already know what to do. We add 1 to the right, the far right. And then for our next number, we draw a decimal right below it because we got to line the decimals up. There's a 7 to the left of the decimal. There's a 4 to the right. Fill in zeros where they need to be. It's a subtraction problem, right? Subtract. So now subtracting. 0 minus 4, can't do that. So 10 minus 4, we can, is 6. 1 minus 7, can't do that. It becomes 11 over here. 11 minus 7 equals 4. And then we got a 0 over there. Bring this bad boy decimal right down where it belongs. 4.6 is the answer. Okay, we are on a roll. Let's keep going. Whoa, stop. Whoa, multiply. Okay, rules are switching. Rules are switching. Okay, if you want to just practice the first set of rules for add and subtract first before you move on to multiply and divide, now's a good time. Otherwise, we're going to keep on going. All right, so multiplying. Forget everything I just told you about adding and subtracting. Yeah, you know, just forget it. It don't apply anymore. The decimals, they don't line up. Gets a little more tricky here, but still, if you can multiply, you can get through this. So left to right, we're going to draw our problems, or redraw our problem. So 2.3, and then 1.2. So where's we see the 2 is the furthest right digit. So we're going to match that up with the digit above, to the furthest to the right over here. And then 2, decimal goes to the left, and then another one. So we actually ended up lining up the decimals purely by accident. Don't do it on purpose. Sometimes they'll line up, sometimes they won't. It doesn't matter. At this point, in fact, you're actually going to, once you've got your decimals in the right place, ignore them. Pretend they're not there. We're going to come back to them later. Don't erase them, but just ignore them for right now and multiply as normal. So 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. We go down to another row. We got to add a 0. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 2 is 2. Add them up, and we get 6. 4 plus 3 is 7. And just a plain old 2. All right, but we're not done. We're not done. Don't just write 276. You will fall into a trap. If this was the case with multiple choice, 276 would be an answer. You might think you're right. You check it off, move on, minus 1. Or actually more than that. The point that there's more than one question is worth more than 1 point. So the last step is go back up there, up at the top. How many numbers come to the right of the decimal? All right. I see 1 digit. I see 2 digits. So we're going to put a decimal at the end. And because there's 2 digits to the right side, not the left side, the right side of the decimals, we're going to bounce it 2 times to the left, always to the left. Okay, you're not going to go left, sometimes right. No, left only. So that our final answer is 2.76. Okay, division. No need to get scared, but we got kind of a rule change to go here because this doesn't quite work like it does with multiply. Divide's got its own subsection rules. So yeah, I'm kind of teaching you a third thing in one video. In the future, I'm going to try to keep it to just 1 or 2, but I got no choice here. Alright, so 4.5 divided by 0.9. Here's how you're going to do that. Top to bottom, left to right. Top divided by bottom. Okay, so that means we're going to draw it like this, and we got our top number, which is the first number, divided by the bottom number, the 0.9. Because remember, top divided by bottom going left to right. Now here's the thing about decimals with these problems. You can have a decimal on the inside. That's fine. You can't have it on the outside. You just can't. So we got to do some bouncing. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and put a new decimal at the far right of that outside number, okay? Then count how many times the decimal would have to bounce to get there, the original decimal. So here's the original one, and it has to bounce 1 time. So let's go inside here, and this one is just a copycat. It doesn't move if it doesn't have to, but if it sees this outside one move, it's going to bounce the exact same amount of times. So that our new problem is going to look like this. 45, the decimal here, and 9 with no decimal at all. You're supposed to eliminate the decimal. If there's a decimal to the far right, you can have it there if you want. You could throw it away. It doesn't change it or affect anything. Now we can multiply now that we've got rid of the decimal over here. So 945, that's going to go into 5 times. So our final answer, of course, is 5. Thank you. You can ask me or people around you for help, and of course you can rewatch the videos.